What an exciting day. I'm Ryan Chao, President of Rails to Trails Conservancy, and I'm here with Kate Kraft, Executive Director of America Walks and Board Chair of Rails to Trails. This is an incredible moment in trail history, really in our nation's history. The moment we unveil the route of the Great American Rail Trail. Really though, this event has been 30 years in the making. This cross-country trail was a dream of our co-founders, David Burwell and Peter Harnick. In the 1980s, when the rail trail movement was gaining steam, Rails to Trails was at the forefront, leading the nation in identifying and transforming unused rail corridors into vibrant trails. As more and more rail trails took root, we saw the potential of a cross-country multi-use trail spanning the nation. That vision has been the underpinning of Rails to Trails strategy to create a nationwide network of trails ever since. Over the past 2 decades, under Keith Laughlin's leadership, Rails to Trails has joined trail managers, advocates, state leaders to help create more than 23,000 miles of rail trail. 23,000. It is thanks to this leadership and the entire trails movement that I'm able to stand here today and say that the time is now to complete the Great American Rail Trail. The plan for the Great American is unprecedented. It will be the very first trail to cross the nation, creating a walkable, bikeable path entirely separated from car traffic over a distance of more than 3,700 miles. It will pass through 12 states, including the District of Columbia, and will be hosted by more than 125 beautiful existing trails. And it's more than 50% complete right now. This is the tipping point we first identified when connecting the full route would be viable. Over the entire route, the Great American will reach more than 50 million people within 50 miles. Let me repeat that. 50 million people within 50 miles. That's an incredible local impact for all of those who live near the route and an unparalleled experience for the countless people who will visit the trail from across the country and around the world. This is a bold vision. We know that. We're excited by that. And we're up to the challenge to complete it. But we'll need all of your support to do so. That's why today we're putting out a call for 1 million people to support the Great American Rail Trail. We're putting out this call to show the strength and solidarity of the trails movement and to demonstrate just how much America wants this trail. Everyone can pledge at greatamericanrailtrail.org. Here in D.C., where the trail begins in the east, we're honored to have Congresswoman Eleanor Holmes Norton with us. Representative Norton provides crucial leadership as the chair of the subcommittee that governs federal funding for trails. And we're grateful to have Rick May, who oversees the country's recreation activities on public lands, as Senior National Advisor for Recreation to the Secretary of the Interior. Thank you both for being here to show your support of this effort. We've heard the excitement from thousands of people all across the country, from rural communities and urban centers, from long-distance cyclists to casual explorers. Their enthusiasm reminds us that this trail will unite the country. It will take all of us together to close those gaps and finally complete it. Thank you for standing up with us today, for being such an important part of this special moment and this inspiring movement. Thank you.
Thanks, Ryan. And you are absolutely right. It will take all of us working together to bring the Great American Rail Trail to life. I'm here to tell you that the trail movement, the walking movement, the biking movement. We're all ready to provide leadership to see this unprecedented trail come to life. Friday's a really important day in this country, in our history. On May 10th, 1869, it's the day that the Transcontinental Railroad was completed. When that golden spike was driven into the ground, our country was connected in ways that we never thought possible. Today, 150 years later, we celebrate an entirely new way of exploring the nation on the trails built from these priceless railroad corridors. And just like the railroad brought economic opportunity to the communities it connected, the Great American Rail Trail will deliver powerful benefits to the nearly 50 million people, as Ryan mentioned, who live along the route. New opportunities for economic growth, new connections to the outdoors, new places to be physically active, and new ways to get where you want to go, whether you're walking or rolling. Today is a celebration of all that the Great American Rail Trail promises and all that it's already delivering. Today is a celebration of the trail's movement and its power to get big, and I mean really big things done. Today is a celebration of togetherness that is necessary to complete such a big, audacious project, I might say. Today is a chance to start saying, united we trail. Now it's my pleasure to welcome Rick May, the Senior National Advisor for Recreation, to offer a few words. Thank you.
Well, I have to start off with a question. How many of you rode bicycles to work this morning? Okay, all right. Well, we got a little work to do out there, but that's good. Now, I ride a bicycle to work every day, and I check the counter that is over near the Potomac, and since May the 1st, 7,500 bicyclists have ridden that trail to D.C. Now, you think that this trail is going to get a workout? I think it will. Well, the Secretary of the Interior, David Bernhardt, sends his best wishes, and as stated, I am his Senior National Advisor for Recreation. He's given me a very big job to do because not only do I oversee things like trails, but I oversee all recreation that goes on in our country, north to south and east to west. The thing of it is, though, is that bicycling is my personal favorite, and the thing I love about it is that it's accessible to so many people. If you have things like e-bikes out there, it's also accessible to many people who are physically challenged, and this is one of my passions, is to help those folks out. Neither age nor infirmity should be a ban from someone going to the great outdoors. So, building a bicycle trail on a railroad bed is one of the most amazing ideas that I have ever heard of. And the reason for that is the gentle grades that the trains had to follow, right, to be able to get over the passes and everything, make it very easy to appeal to people who have varying athletic abilities. And so whether you're roller skating or whether you're hiking or whether you're in a chair or whatever it is, there is a way for you to get out and enjoy the trail. And if an activity is conveniently accessible, more people are going to participate. The draw to this particular trail, as it passes through some of our country's most beautiful areas, towns large and small, crossing rivers and cultures, is that it will bring people together for the morning workout, that weekend camping trip, the coast-to-coast trail, and then perhaps even to a nearby coffee shop. I've ridden the Great Divide now 5 times. It is a 2,900-mile-long bicycle race, starting in Alberta, Canada, climbs 210,000 vertical feet, crosses the Continental Divide 32 times, and ends at the port of entry into Mexico, Antelope Wells. I invited a friend of mine, a Marine who was wounded overseas, had a head wound from an IED blast, to ride with me. The daily physical effort on that bike, contact with nature, and someone to talk to who understood what he was going through made all the difference for this veteran. And I will never forget the look on his face as we finished the last few miles. The headwinds were strong, the temperatures hovered at 120 degrees, and I remember him turning to look at me just as we saw Antelope Wells in the distance, and with a face as red from sunburn as it was from effort, he looked at me and said, "Can we slow this thing down now?" And we laughed, and we went into Antelope Wells together, and we had a wonderful time there. But the best thing about that finish was that somewhere between Canada and Mexico, he stopped taking all those prescription drugs that he was on. So God's great outdoors did what pharmaceuticals could not. And I'd like to end by just saying that the Department of the Interior stands by to partner in this endeavor. And thank you for having me.
And now it's my great pleasure to bring up Congresswoman Eleanor Holmes Norton from Washington, D.C. Congressman Norton is the chair of the House subcommittee, that's a mouthful, which governs trail funding. So you understand she's pretty important to us.
I knew I'd find you somewhere on the mall. But I'm very pleased to have found Rails to Trails and your Conservancy. You have been at the very top of my list for the entire time I have been on the Highways and Transportation Committee. So it's wonderful to see you in the nation's capital, as they would say, in person. I have had as my priority on the committee to get all the trails in my own region connected. And in every single transportation infrastructure bill, whether I've been in the majority, as I recently am, or in the minority, I have been able to get bipartisan support for all of the trails provisions that I have put in the bill. I want to especially thank the Capital Trails Coalition in the Washington metropolitan area and the Washington Area Bicycle Association. These are two of the groups that have worked very closely with me on our trails. You are in the nation's capital, but I view it as a leader in bicycling and in other forms of transportation. We're trying to keep people off the streets, and one of the best ways, of course, is to have them on trails. That's why we have trails all around our region. Our capital, it's called the Capital Crescent Trail, as well as the Chesapeake and Ohio Canal National Historic Park. Those are our two big trails that are part of the Great American Trail System. Now, we are well on our way to linking all of our trails across the United States, just as we have done in our highway system. That's been my goal. We're getting there.
Thanks so much, Congresswoman Norton. That's what it's all about, a nation of networks and spines. So now here's the big moment you all have been waiting for, the big reveal of the route of the Great American Rail Trail. I'm going to ask Patrick and Leanne to come on up. And please, speakers, board members, others, come on behind. I'm going to narrate where it goes, but please come behind this route. 3,700 miles. It starts here in the Capitol building, heads westward through Maryland, it then moves through Pennsylvania, West Virginia, Ohio, continues through Indiana, Illinois, Wyoming, on through Nebraska, into Iowa, Montana, Idaho, and finally into Washington and its western terminus in Seattle. It's going to be quite a journey. Thank you all for supporting it. And I'll just note that we're lucky to have amazing host trails as part of the Great American. Those include iconic trails like the Cardinal Greenway in Indiana, the Cowboy Recreational Trail in Nebraska, and the Palouse to Cascades Trail in Washington. And this has been a great celebration. It will continue, but the broadcast spans all across the country. We're going next to Columbus, Ohio. After that, we'll be in Three Forks, Montana. Finally, in Cle Elum, Washington, to celebrate in every single time zone where the Great American will take place. Thank you so much. We appreciate all of your support. Let's all pledge support, and we'll be honored to hear from more partners here as we continue our own celebration. Thank you so much.